Alright, we're back. I was asked for an army reveal for my Warriors of Chaos army, or now Slaves to Darkness. So I thought before revealing I need to give the models some love. So one of my favorite models there, the chariot, I brightened it, so I gave the charioteer a bit lighter skin, so the model pops a bit more, which is important if it's a gaming piece and you look from a distance. And there as well I added the focal point, which is the face there, the helmet. I added some highlights, and same thing on the cape there, so to get a bit more contrast, and again, so the model pops a bit more. So quite happy. The foundational paint work was quite good actually. It was a while since I painted it, but I was happy. But I just wanted to give the model a bit more love so that it's a bit more vibrant. So that's the first reveal, my beloved old Chaos Chariot. Not super good in the game, to be honest, but I like it anyway. And here we have conversion. So this Chaos Lord, I noted that in Age of Sigmar he's actually placed on a bigger base, so he has a new base there, and then I took away the head and replaced with a new head. So it's a bit more interesting to have a head without a helmet, in my humble opinion. So I'm gonna repaint that. I will show it in a different video. And then I added a horn to this model, and I'm holding my hand there so the camera will focus. Takes a bit of time sometimes for the camera to focus, but yeah, just added a horn there so it can be used as a musician, and that has to do with the game mechanics, so I can have a bit of an edge there. And then we have, this is painted before I got it. I have an ever so slight conversion there, just changed to a different head so it fits more with my other warriors. So I wanted to get to, I had 18 and I wanted 20, so I had these two models. Same thing there, added a new head and a banner, so he works as a standard bearer and he fits a bit better with my old warriors. So slight conversions to get them to fit with these older guys. So there we have the standard, so the how they are, or how they were before making this video. So you see there I need to add some highlights to the fur, I need to add some highlights to the cape as well to make the models pop a bit. So beginning with a dry brush, putting a bit of water actually, and that is to make sure the paint does not get too chalky, which can actually happen if you have a too dry paint. So there I'm just working into the bristles of the brush, and there I'm taking away most of the paint. I don't want to do it on paper, because that again can make the paint job a bit chalky, which you definitely want to avoid. So there you have the loaded brush, just trying to work in the just the edges, the raised areas, so they would catch the light normally. So just working around there, trying to add some more contrast. Same thing here on the champion. I have to work around that metal detail on the back as well. And then we have there. So already looking better in my humble opinion. So just getting some more contrast, and there the brush is a bit too big, so I changed to a smaller brush to hit the areas in front there as well. And now we're moving on to the most important part of the entire video, of the entire project, and that is to add some highlights, some edge highlights to the capes, the mantles of the warriors, because that is something that will truly make them pop and stand out on the gaming table. So very, very carefully, getting an appropriate amount of paint on the brush, and then you can see me being very, very careful there, and I'm adding a thin line. That line got a bit thick, so I'm just broadening it a bit so it looks consistent and smooth. So I'm just working through the entire cape like that. And I will say it was quite hard to film this, because I want to put my face sort of closer to the model, but then the hair gets in the way of the camera. So yeah, but some good training at least. So there we have it, boom. Finished result, quite happy with it, and there you can see the comparison as well, so a lot better in my humble opinion. So you can see the contrast is a bit more, or a lot more noticeable. And then we have some bone areas as well. So here we use a very bright skin color actually, but it works quite well for bone as well. So just getting these bone details, so the skull for example, to pop a bit more, to get a bit more brightness to the model. They are supposed to be dark because they are slaves to darkness, so a bit of a grim dark feel to them, but still you want some details to pop to make them a bit more interesting. So I'm just carefully picking out the raised areas there, careful to not paint all of it. So we still want the darker recesses to be dark, so you get that nice contrast. And there we have some of the models. They also have horns, so I'm adding some highlights to sort of draw the attention there as well. So yeah, adding a bit of brightness onto the horns. Now some of the models, I've actually sculpted these hoods back in the day, and I thought to give some highlights there as well. So I'm starting with the front of the hood to get a bit of highlight, and then I decided to try a volumetric highlight, which was a bit tricky, and almost immediately when I tried this I noted that it doesn't look good at all. It looks rather horrible, to be completely honest. So I decided to make the hoods black instead. So there I use it's actually a very, very dark gray that I'm putting over, and that also makes the hoods fit better with the overall theme, because the helmets of the other guys, they're black. So there I'm just adding a black wash as well to make it even darker and add a bit of contrast. So very, very dark gray washed with black, and that also contrasts better with the purple cloak. So there you have a little comparison again. And I also decided to add an even brighter highlight to the fur. So I mixed the previous light brown color with that tyrant skull there to make the fur pop even more. So that is the project, that is the finished result. I will definitely take some pictures for my next game, whenever that will be. It will probably take a little while until I can take a day off. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the result. Quite happy with, giving some love to these old models, so they look better now. I also added some grass tufts to the bases to make them look a bit more interesting. So yeah, that is the project, and now we will finish off by having a look at some pictures I took during my second game of Age of Sigmar. So the first game was only an introduction, so what you see before you is from the first proper game, and there you see the main man, my favorite model, rolling into town. So as I said, not super good game mechanic wise, but I want to have him anyway because yeah, it's the favorite. And there we have terrain piece, so a faction unique terrain piece, which gives a bit of a bonus to the wizards in the army. So quite cool stuff indeed. And there we have some Chaos Knights. I will probably repaint some of this to just bring them up to a similar standard to the rest of the army. So I painted this quite a few years back, and yeah, they need some more contrast to make them a bit more interesting. So I might show in a new video that project. And there we have another one of my favorite models. I got this when I was like 19. I've had it ever since, and I thought it was a really cool model. So if you look from the side, you can see it more clearly. He has a Corinthian helmet, so an ancient Greek style helmet, and then he's riding on some sort of demonic mount, a Slaaneshi mount. So really cool model as well, using him as a Chaos Lord on demonic steed. And here we have a picture. Shout out, by the way, to Robin. So the guy I was playing against, he has a great collection of really, really nice terrain. He has also a few really nicely painted armies, so a pleasure to play against, even though I got beaten by his Stormcast Eternals in this particular fight, but it was a good and fun game anyway. So here you can also see like the, a scene from the battle, so to speak. So the Stormcast, they overcame my Chaos, so you see some old Marauder horsemen there, and then you have a Chaos Centaur. So the Centaur I painted not long ago, actually, maybe like 2 years ago, so it's quite happy with that paint job. So anyway, they were overcome there, they got killed. And then here we have an angel of his fighting a demon of mine. So this demon I painted many years ago as a corn demon. That is why it's red. The rest of the army is purple, so like Slaaneshi theme. But yeah, a hero actually ascended to demonhood. That's why I have the demon there. So yeah, anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. XOXO, boom!